Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. In today's video, discussing Bitcoin. Looking at the Bitcoin daily chart here, it's been a lot of chop and slop, and the question is, are we starting a bigger consolidation bullish flag pattern to take us to a next leg higher, or are we going to break down? Now, if we look at the daily chart, overall what's happening here is actually a form of lower high. So here's your high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And just recently, you've actually been putting in a bit of lower low. So here's your low, lower low, lower low, lower low. And now we're in a bit of this wedge pattern. It's a big inflection point for Bitcoin because we're now at a precipice where if we have another waterfall sell-off, it's going to try to take out this low as seen by the trend of setting in lower highs here. So the big thing here is I'm actually looking to get into a short position on Bitcoin, but I don't think it's ready. I think aggressive traders are entering now. There's a minor resistance trend line which you could draw like this across your price action, but that's very, very minor, and I don't think it's going to keep Bitcoin price action in check. The bigger level I think is going to be coming into this trend line here, connecting this pivot to this pivot, somewhere in around the 61,000. Now if we erase that trend line and we do some moving average analysis, so we're going to throw in the 50, we're going to throw in the 100, and we're going to throw on the 200 moving average. So we have three moving averages. The 200 is in blue, the 100 moving average is in white, and the 50 is in purple. Notice a couple things here, right? We're just going to start from this phase here where we actually broke above the 50 and the 100, had a big sell-off, bounced back up to the purple 50 here, had another little mini sell-off, then got back above the 50, retested this confluence zone where you had the 100 and the 200 moving average sitting and got rejected. The next stop I think we're going to retest is the 50-day moving average. Why do I say that? Because that was the last major moving average where we actually got back above it off of a daily impulse volume surge candle and then got absolutely rejected by the two higher time frame moving average. So I think that if we retest the 50, I think you're going to see an overwhelming amount of short side pressure come back into the Bitcoin market, and that's kind of going to coincide with this, more or less this trend line right around this area. So I do think that there's a short trade setting up, and then you simply leave yourself a little bit of room to add if it goes higher to 62, 63. If you recapture that daily 200 moving average, then you kind of want to be out of the short trade. But nice to see that on a short side of Bitcoin. And again, long term, I do think we're going higher, but I do think that we're going to get a little bit of a micro push up and then a bigger, so this is how I think we're going to get a push up, and then I think we're actually going to get a bigger sell side candle down to about 48,000 again, little micro bounce, and then actually a bigger move back down to about 40,000 on the charts. And why do I come up with that 40,000? Well, I think it's clear. We just have a beautiful upsloping trend line going back to 2022, 2023 zone. If we retest this 40K, I think a lot of people will be backing the truck up on Bitcoin, and that's kind of how I'm seeing it here in the near term. On that note, if you found this analysis helpful, if you agree or disagree, I know there's always crypto bros out there that will disagree and say, nope, we're going to 100K, we're going to 200K. Obviously, you've seen Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy announce that Bitcoin's going to 13 million in about 20 years. It's going to roughly become 7% of the global wealth out there. Whether or not that happens, time will tell. He's obviously certainly outperformed the S&P 500 on a year-over-year consistent basis, so there might be some validity to his target, but yet again, he is one that is heavily invested in the industry, so you obviously have to take it with a grain of salt. Take care, everybody. See you on the charts a little bit later.